Hey everybody, I know this probably isn't the video that you came to YouTube to watch, but when you do watch it, you're gonna be glad. I'm gonna show you 5 poodle crossbreeds that should never ever happen. I also have another breed, another cross that actually surprised me and turned out to be a pretty cute mix. And then I've got some notables. These are breeds that are already happening and people are actually doing this on purpose, putting these 2 dog breeds together, and we just need to stop. Okay, the first breed that should never be crossed with a poodle. A Bedlington Terrier and a Poodle are dogs that should never ever be crossed. Now, one of the first things you'll notice about a Bedlington Terrier is this really awful hairdo. It's like bad hair day in a 1980s rock concert, and it's not by an owner's choice. This is how their hair actually grows. It's really awful, and it's sure to get the attention of everyone in the park for all of the wrong reasons. People are going to wonder if it has a disease, they're going to wonder if it has cancer, or they're going to wonder if you're just a really mean owner. Now, if you cross these dogs, the shape of the Bedlington Terrier's head, when you add a poodle to that, there's not enough cute in the poodle to fix what's wrong with the Bedlington Terrier. So even though we've got a cute little name like a Bedoodle, let's not be doodling it, okay? Stop this mix right away. Okay, the next breed of dog that we want to talk about that should never be crossed with a poodle, no matter what you think you're going to get in the end. There's actually 2. I'm going to put these 2 together because they have kind of the same dreadlock, kind of strange look to them. The best way you can describe this dog is a mop with 4 legs that goes around and instead of cleaning up just makes messes. The Komondor or the Puli or Pulic, these are 2 breeds that should never be crossed with a poodle, and the most obvious reason is because you have absolutely no idea what's going to happen with this coat. Now the Puli and the Komondor are typically sheep dogs. I'm sure they're wonderful. They probably have wonderful spirits. However, if you cross a poodle's hair with a Puli's hair, you're going to have a nightmare. You'll spend 4.5 days a week trying to comb this mop out. All right, the next breed that we want to talk about that should never be crossed with a poodle is an English Bull Terrier. The English Bull Terrier already has enough ugly to go around for several dog breeds, even though they've been made famous by Budweiser and by Target as these iconic figures. The reality is they probably shouldn't have been. They were made iconic because they're just, I guess a nice way to say it is, interesting looking. But when you take a poodle's coat and add it to an English Bull Terrier, really what you end up getting is some dog that's so goofy looking we couldn't even come up with a good poodle mix name for it. We have Labradoodles and Golden Doodles and all kinds of oodles and doodles and poos. The only thing we could come up with the English Bull Terrier is a woolly bully. So the next breed that I want to mention and say we really should stay away from is the Boston Terrier. And I know a lot of people love the Boston Terrier breed. The Boston Terrier has a lot of really good traits. But the one thing that it has that looks fine on its body are those ears. And those ears, while they look fine on a Boston Terrier, that's kind of, we're used to that look, and it's, you know, it kind of fits. But when you take Boston Terrier ears and slap them on a poodle's head, or even worse, a Boston Terrier's head and slap it on a poodle's body, the results are not pretty. They're the opposite of pretty. And again, this is another dog that if you go walking around the park, you're gonna get a lot of attention. Your dog's getting a lot of attention, but it's gonna be all for the wrong reason. The last breed I want to talk about is the Xolo, or the Mexican hairless dog. The one thing that I can say about this dog is the dog breed and I have something in common, and that is that we actually look better with no hair. And if you were to try and take a poodle's mane, a nice poodle's coat, and place it on the Xolo's body, the result wouldn't be pretty. I've not ever come across a Xolo Doodle or a Xolipoo or any of the cute little names that we might come up with. So let's avoid ever seeing that. Don't be the first one to make that mistake. And let's just stick with some of the more standard poodle crosses, or just stick with the standard poodle altogether. There's my list of the poodle crosses that should either stop happening or should never happen. 5 of the worst poodle mixes out there. I've got some notables as well that I'll mention in just a minute, but I did want to bring up actually one poodle cross mix that I was originally going to put in this because I'd seen the 2 breeds side by side, and I thought there is no way those dogs together could turn into anything cute. The Chinese Crested has got to be one of the ugliest dog breeds on the earth. And again, for those of you that have a Chinese Crested and you're deeply offended, don't be. Just recognize that you probably love your dog because you know its personality. Anyone that doesn't know your personality or doesn't know your dog's personality is going to tell you what I'm going to tell you, and that is your dog is ugly. They just are. And to think that you could cross it with a poodle and make a prettier dog really would have escaped me until I saw some of the pictures of what are known as the Chinese Crestapoos. These dogs are pretty cute. I'll be really honest. If one of my daughters came to me and said, "Hey Dad, I want a Chinese Crestapoo," I'd probably start to cave on that a little bit. It's a crossbreed that actually works. And you do, for most of the pictures and most of the videos that I've seen, you actually do get the best of both breeds. So there's my one poodle cross mix, my poodle cross breed that kind of surprised me. Here's my list of notables. These are poodle cross breeds that we probably shouldn't stop. We should stop breeding these two particular dogs together. First one is an Escapoo, even though it's a super cute name. The poodle is everything that the American Eskimo dog is not. The American Eskimo dog is more like a husky, big, brawny, tough, built for the outdoors. The poodle dog is, well, the poodle has to go to a salon once every 4 to 5 weeks to get their nails done and their coat trimmed just right. Let's not shame the American Eskimo dog by introducing manicures. Notable number 2 is the Jackapoo, the Jack Russell Terrier and the poodle. Usually a smaller poodle, a toy poodle or a mini poodle. The last thing you need is a Jack Russell Terrier that barks even more than a Jack Russell Terrier. And that's what you're going to get with this dog. The last notable that I'll mention is the Dalmapoo. Again, the Dalmatian has kind of a poodle body to it, but it's kind of sleek, short-haired coat. When you mix that with a poodle, you never know what you're going to get, and it usually turns into just a coat disaster, increasing the amount of maintenance that it takes, but never really getting it to look good. So avoid the Dalmapoo as well. I'm not a big fan of the designer dogs. I think it's a craze. I think the astronomical cost for these designer dogs is generating a huge market for backyard breeders, for dogs, for breeders who don't really concern themselves with the health of the breed or which 2 dogs ought to be mated, and if there are dogs that shouldn't be. They simply buy a poodle, buy a Labrador, buy a poodle, and buy whatever other breed they're gonna cross with the poodle, and they don't take into concerns like the health of both the parents, temperaments. Are we getting the best of both breeds and putting them together? I also think that we don't really know what we're getting into. We're breeding dogs and have no idea we have no clue as to the science behind it. Most of these hybrid breeders fall in the range of really amateur and simplistically minded and have no clue what they're doing. Now, having said that, I know that there are some great breeders out there that deal in the poodle hybrids, whether that's the Aussie Doodle or the Bernedoodle or the Labradoodles or the Golden Doodles. These breeders are paying attention to the science of it, and they're picking parents that are going to be a good representation of both breeds so that you're getting the best of both worlds. They're people who are paying attention to the health of their dogs. They're taking care of their dogs, and they're doing what they can to get these crossbreeds or these hybrids or these designer dogs, whatever you want to call them, and get them legitimately established, so that someone who's looking for a pup can respectably, realistically expect something specific out of the dog. When I get a Labrador that's fully bred and is a standard Labrador, I know what I'm going to get, whether it's an English or an American, because those breeds are so well established for so many generations. We're not there yet with these hybrid dogs, with these designer dogs. So maybe we will someday, but until then, my advice, avoid at least these 6 or 7 poodle mixes that I've mentioned, and maybe I'll put one of these videos out there and tell you the poodle breeds that I do like.